Hey everybody, welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. Happy Friday night. Video number 2 for Wes's VI 955, and I am now comfortable that it's running and acting the way it should. That first video, you'll note that I talked about gas pooling in here. This has been upgraded to a 925 carburetor somewhere along the line, so it's an HS, what the hell was it, 151? Yeah, 151B. So, short of that Walbro WJ that was available, oh geez, in the late 80s, this is the most up-to-date carburetor. So this is what was used on a whole lot of 925s. And who knows, I don't have a parts list that shows it as a standard piece on this one, but maybe it was. In any case, the HS151 uses a governor valve, and it's on the side of the carburetor over here just below the, or behind the choke. And all that is a little spring-loaded deal that has a port that goes into the carburetor here, and then there is a fuel feed from up by the main inlet needle. And what that does is it bypasses the high-speed jet and screw here. So you can only tune this thing so much. I've got this screw basically closed all the way right now on the high-speed side. And so it's running completely off of that governor when we rev it up. Yeah, that is fully closed. And the books talk about that, and that's actually not abnormal. This thing still has so bloody much compression that the signal that it's sending to the carburetor is allowing it to run at high speed on that governor bypass only. So the big problem with this variety of saw, the 925, 955, all of these 2 1/16 bore saws, was you could tune them apparently so high, to rev so high, that guys would get them leaned out, and they would run and rev up, but you'd get into a cut and it would start getting hot. There just wasn't enough fuel to lubricate the cylinder, fuel and oil mix. So that was their solution, was to govern them and just take the human error out of it. So anyway, that being said, with the amount of spitback it was having, I had questions about that governor valve, so I pulled it out. It was clear that it had been out at least once before. The copper gasket that seats that didn't look the greatest, but trying to find one of those, I mean, maybe you could at a good hardware store, but with this I just cleaned it up a little bit, smoothed the rough edges down, and then used a real thin skim of MotoSeal on both sides of it and reseated that valve and let it set up for 24 hours. And also decided, with the carburetor off, I'm going to check these reed valves, and I'm glad I did, because that was also part of the problem. I don't know if we're going to be able to focus on this. I think it is. Let me grab something to point with. Alright. There's a lot of discoloration just from the combustion process, but there's a big dent ridge right here and a big dent right here. And you can maybe see it better with it flipped over like that. So this thing, when I pulled that assembly out, maybe I already pitched it. I gotta quit doing that. Here it is. The old reed valve retainer. This is the gasket and retainer assembly. This thing is stiff as a board. And what appeared to have happened is somebody had taken the reed valve cage and the reed valves out. This had stayed in the block, and then they tried to slip it back in. Well, this was the bottom one, and it's clear that it came off and was sitting sideways. And it was actually run like that for a long enough time that you can see the crooked wear mark right there. So this sucker had to have been spitting fuel when it was used last, and probably making a pretty nice mess inside that carburetor chamber. Well, anyway, that's taken care of. I got plenty of those reed valves on hand, so a nice new one went in there, a new seat went in there, so it's all sealed up real nice. So, as I said before, Wes, I think this thing is basically about ready to come back to you. I'm going to I think I've got just the filter cup that goes on this bracket to help catch some of that spit back. And instead of it pooling down there, it'll slowly suck it back into the engine and burn it off. So I'll get that taken care of. That spur sprocket has some wear. So after you've watched the video, maybe shoot me a quick email. Let me know if you'd like me to upgrade this to a rim style sprocket. So the next time you can just replace the rim, my guess is you'll want to, but I'll wait for that to come in. And beyond that, we've got bar plates. I think this saw is complete and ready to go. Should be in about as good condition as when your granddad last used it. So Wes, look forward to talking to you.